Tracy, whenever you're ready. So everyone, we have Tracy Evans with us, who is from New River Community and Technical College, and she's going to talk to you about student recruitment and admissions, and really how you can maximize things for your position. Okay, go ahead, Tracy. I think you're muted.
Yeah, I had to figure it out with the screen share here because I've got the PowerPoint and that down here. I haven't done the PowerPoint with the screen share yet. So how is everyone doing today? I saw a thumbs up. Okay.
Good. Hi, Tracy.
Hi. Okay, that's better. It moved my stuff to the side, back over. So I can. Okay, so what I want to talk to you all about today is kind of the processes, the things that we're going through, talk to you all a little bit about how there's things we can provide you in your role that if you're not aware of, it's something that we can talk about asking for. But as you know, applying to college, I'm saying it's an apprehensive financial experience for many. As we know, parents are concerned, students are concerned. Many don't know about the opportunities with financial aid, loans, and or West Virginia Invest. With the uncertainty that's going on right now, life in general, where we're going to be in the spring semester, the fall semester of 2021, it brings about a lot of uncertainty for parents and for those trying to make a decision. Prospects, those who are considering your institution may not be able to visit campuses in traditional ways through large groups, open houses, recruitment events, traditional things that we normally would do on campus. Your admissions counselors, which we call them recruitment specialists, may not be able to visit high schools. They may not be able to do lunch visits, seek other recruitment opportunities, such as in the community, where normally we would be visiting businesses, banks, hospitals. With these, I would say a lot of times it involves asking the college ambassador to go along with these visits. For us right now, as you can probably see, I'm working from home. I'm not sure how many of you all are, but for some, we have limited staff on campuses. For others, you may be operating as normal. It just depends on your institution. A lot of us have in-seat classes predominantly with some hybrid, and then others are operating with predominantly online classes only. Each institution is going to vary. Many prospective and admitted students, the events that we had scheduled originally have been canceled. We do have an upcoming event in December and in January, hopefully, depending upon the situation, where we'll do it safely as possible, where we invite students who are in the process to come into the college and kind of finish things they need to do, whether that be testing, turn in something, but just give them the opportunity to come on campus. Again, that's going to depend upon where we are with the situation with COVID. External recruitment events right now are really hard to come by. We're running into a lot of challenges with that, whether it's trying to get into high schools, whether it's in the community, but we've had a lot of barriers in that aspect right now. And let's do poll 1, Emily, if you've got that. I'm interested in to see.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and show the results.
Okay. So it looks like half are open for business as normal. Providing group tours is a no. Looks like it's limited with the one-on-one tours in their family. Planning an open house or recruitment event of any type. 75% say no. Are you able to visit your local high schools? Looks like that is half and half as well. And community outreach, 75% said no on that. Okay, that gives me a better idea with some of the topics and some of the things that we're going to talk about. So thank you all for doing that. Some of the barriers that we're facing and how we can overcome them is part of what I wanted to talk to y'all about. High schools. That's right now, we can't even get into our high schools. You have to have a specific purpose, and it may just be to drop off an item to a counselor, but they really don't want us to actually be on site. So that's causing a lot of headaches for us in trying to reach out and to do the different things that we normally would do, especially, like I said, not allowing visitors. That would be our recruitment. That would be our college ambassador if we wanted her to go along. Right now, how we've worked around that is a lot of the schools are opening sessions and letting us do what we call admission Zoom sessions. In that, it's a virtual platform, of course, and you're able to talk to the students. Now, this has been happening from 3 p.m. or after, not during the school day for the most part, but they've allowed us to talk to and interact with students that have admission questions, want to reach out. Now, it's been limited. We've had our recruitment specialist come back and say there's been one person to 15 with a parent or two in the mix that's been a part of the session. So the results kind of vary as to what, you don't know what you're going to get. They don't make them pre-sign up for the most part. It's you're coming into the session and it's a waiting game to see if you're going to have 1, 2, 3, or a handful. With those, though, they do a question and answer session, which I think is very beneficial right now for our students, especially those who don't want to reach out in other ways. They like the Zoom, they like the online. You can't get a hold of them when you're trying to call. You run into obstacles. So I like that we're able to at least have this option. When group tours are not an option, instead, many are doing the one-on-one. Well, I say many, but looking from our specific results here, it was half and half. But that's doing it safely and with a parent only. They're not allowing the whole family to come in, extended family, that type of thing, with precautions in place. Others, our institution right now is not allowing tours of any kind. The large group tours we normally do, the one-on-one. I think we all can agree that nothing is going to compare to the student experience that they have on campus. But the next best thing is something that we can look at and we can talk about, and that's campus virtual tours. How many of you all have done campus virtual tours, or does your institution offer that yet? We're actually working on it. So I'll be the first. That's what we're working on, is virtual tours. So at this point, we do not. Does anybody have virtual tours? Not hearing anything, I'm going to take that as a no. Or you're
The high school did them, didn't they? But no colleges that I know of.
Yeah, the high school, like we had the ACRO, the West Virginia ACRO Fair, the college day fairs, and they actually went virtual with those fairs as well. With the campus virtual tour, what do you think would be a good idea for a campus for the virtual tour? The whole campus, talking, looking at maybe your student success centers or where they receive help with testing, tutoring. What do you all think would be a good idea in looking at doing campus virtual tours?
Housing, where the food's going to be coming from.
Where the what, hon?
Their housing, where their meals, if they live on campus, where they're going to be eating at.
Okay.
The rec center.
Okay. Anyone else have any ideas?
I believe it would be good to try to include most of all of it, where everyone's located, and like a small tour of each floor. That way they get comfortable with knowing what they're looking for. Okay. Yeah. The goal and the end piece here is we can't give them the experience of being there. So we want to do as much as possible. Now, I will tell you, when it comes to what a lot of times I've seen, especially with my daughter, she's 17, the virtual tours, the things like that, they have to be short and condensed. They can't be a 20, 30 minute long piece of the puzzle, or you're going to lose people. So sometimes it's better to do the shorter pieces of the virtual tours to say, here's our campus, make that, and then do specific programs. If you have programs that you want to highlight, if you have maybe a student success center where they do the testing, tutoring, the support services, so that way you can show them, but it's better to have smaller, shorter pieces. How do you all feel about that? Would you watch a 20-minute video, or would you prefer smaller increments of things? Definitely the smaller one.
Okay. All right. Virtual events. So what if we had something such as like an admit day? So students would talk to us about being admitted, students who have already been in the pipeline. There's all these different things we could do with virtual events set up around a specific piece of the puzzle. Any ideas on what you could do with your institution to just do a virtual event specific to the mission process, financial aid, whatever it may be? What are your thoughts on that?
I think here at Mount West, they've done something similar to that. They've kind of just gave like a quick walkthrough of the application process, and then they do like a live Zoom call, kind of like this, and they let students join or potential students join. And we'll have someone on there from the admissions, just giving them the talk about what they need to do with everything going on and stuff like that.
That's perfect.
So it seems helpful every now and then. It just depends if you can get them to join the Zoom call.
Right. And a lot of times you can also do RSVP, try to reach out, have a campaign where you're reaching out to the students, trying to get them to, let you know ahead of time that they're going to join. Other times, again, if we do it just like we talked about, you don't know what you're going to have with the Zoom. If you're not asking for RSVP in advance, it could be 1, it could be 10. But if we reach that 1, it's important because the information we're trying to share right now, I think needs to be out there. Okay, one of the things, literature placed in businesses. Now that would be like we place our admission checklist. We have an overall degree sheet with programs. I have recruitment cards. They're like square. They look like business cards, but they're actual recruitment cards that give enrollment services, financial aids number, targeting specific pieces of the puzzle here. We've not been able to do that. That's been one of the things that's kind of held us back, that we were also going to look at Michelle assisting with. But we're not able to get in. Employee break rooms right now, they're not allowing literature because of COVID. They don't want stuff that people are handling. Bank lobbies are closed. They're not permitting anyone inside. So we've ran into a lot of, as you can see on the PowerPoint, convenience stores are more lenient. We still are able to post stuff and leave material. And when I say material, for the most part there, it's those generic, what I'll call recruitment cards, not other stuff. One of the things you could do and looking at and that you could help with is if you've got someone on campus that you're working with that's able to do the literature drop-offs or talk to the businesses. If you're with them, great. If you're not, you can help prepare the bags. And that's going ahead and making up like your student checklist, your degree programs, any literature that they would want to keep, for a prospective student. And then ask with the businesses, can I drop this off? I know they don't want literature laying out where people have to go through individual pieces. But if you have a bag where they can just pick up like you do at college fairs and those type of things, that's what we're just going to have to see if they're going to allow that. But that's another option.
I wonder if you could also make virtual toolkits and ask the business to email it out to all of their employees. I wonder if something like that might be an option.
Yeah, we've utilized, I know with New River, we utilize the Chamber of Commerce for a lot of things to get out to the chamber members, but that's a good idea with other businesses to see if they would. Okay, with the pandemic, we're all embracing new and familiar technology in order to reach our students and doing things differently. Emails instead of letters. For us right now, we're emailing. I used to do postcards, combination, telephone calls, postcards. Right now we're doing emails, and then we're on campus one day, and that's just to work with our files and different things, not actually there to see students. So if we wanted to do a letter, we could actually do a letter at this point. Virtual tours, virtual events, that's something like we've talked about that every institution is going to have to definitely get on board with. Participating in recruitment and community events. Now we're wearing masks. Practicing social distancing. So a lot has changed. We're working around what we've been given. We're relying heavily on our website and looking at our school and social media to reach potential students, I should say. So is there any other ideas or things that your school or your institution is doing since COVID-19? You're a quiet bunch. Quiet. Okay, we talked about what kind of virtual events does your campus currently have? We've already heard. Is there anyone else that has virtual events on their campus?
I wanted to remind you that one of the pieces of your role is to promote, so to help provide 2 events that promote college enrollment. So this is really kind of very related to one of the tasks you're required to do.
And that brings me to the next part of it. If it's not something you're currently doing, what can you bring to the table? What ideas do you have that you would like to see? I mean, that's something definitely, whether it's reporting to your supervisor, whoever that you're working closely with, but let them know, talk to them about your ideas. A lot of times brainstorming, Michelle brings me ideas with stuff that I've loved so far working with her. We want ideas. This is something we absolutely want. Don't be afraid to reach out and tell your site supervisor, like I said, whoever you're working closely with, what your thoughts are. Okay, reaching potential students through reports and other means. What about inquiries from your website? Are any of you all familiar, or do you get inquiries from your website? I'm not sure how many are new and how many have been here for a little bit, so I don't know.
I believe that 1 member is new and the other 3 are returning.
Okay. Well, there's an idea. Inquiries from our website. I know Recruitment works with those, but that's where you can pitch in and help out, reaching out. We have a lot of students that do the FAFSA, but yet they've not done an application. So Michelle works with FAFSA no application reports that we provide her. A lot of times we receive transcripts, whether it be a high school, an official college transcript, test scores, but we have no application. So here's another way to reach out. How do you contact when you get a high school transcript? So a lot of times what we do is, of course, we look at the graduation date. If they're have been in school in the last couple of years, we'll call and talk to the counselor to see if they have any means of us contacting the student. A lot of times they'll provide personal emails. They'll let you know a student's email, how to reach them. But if you don't have that, you don't have the contact information able to reach out to a counselor, of course, with the reports we provide from inquiries, FAFSA, things like that, you're going to have contact information readily available. But that's a great way to reach out to talk to the student about the application process and what they need to complete next. Has anyone been involved in that process? I know Michelle has, but has anyone else been involved in FAFSA no application, receiving transcripts, that type of thing, where they don't have an application in?
Yeah, that's a lot of what I do, is make phone calls or texts to potential high school students who have sent their FAFSA into our school or everything but an application. And then we have to get a hold of them and figure out if there was a reason they didn't do an application or what we could do to help them with the application.
Okay, perfect.
So that's a lot of what I do, yeah.
All right. Okay, applied and are admitted to the college. So these students have applied and they are admitted. How do we best serve these students during this time? Of course, reaching out by email, reaching out by telephone. One of the things that we need to be very mindful of right now is when we're asking, is this a good time? Because of course, a lot of students work, and that's going to be regardless of the pandemic or not. But the thing that we have to look at is a lot of students, potential students and or students, are going to be working from home. So they may be at a point of, I'm trying to get lunch ready for my kids. Now I'm receiving this phone call, asking, is this a good time? I had one lady that I'd reached out to that she thanked me when I asked her if this was a good time. She's like, thank you for asking. No, it's absolutely not. But after 4 o'clock today, she said, I'll be more than glad to talk to you. I need help. So asking the question. Your institution may have text messaging set up. We're not involved with the text messaging part of it. That's our communications department. So that's something that we don't have access to at this point. There's Zoom interactive admission question and answer sessions that we've talked about that you could participate in, that you could create, be a part of. Admitted student call list reports. This is, I'd sent out just an example. Of course, I changed the information. It was not the student's information that I sent out with that, but I wanted you all to see that was an example call report. Your report should give you basic information. Of course, the name, the student ID, the telephone. I always get the personal email as well. Major concentration, checklist items they need to complete. And of course, in reaching out, one of the things I like to point out is, how can I help you today? How can I make it easier on you today? It sounds simple, but it says a lot. This is going to open up a line of communication that leads to a supportive and positive experience. And I think that's most important right now. Relationship building has always been on the forefront of what we have to do, what we strive for, but I think it's even more important now with what potential students and students are going through and having to readjust to life at this point. One of the things, be patient. With so many things on our minds, so many changes in our daily lives, we're all adjusting, and of course our prospective students are no different. Some have been experiencing family financial issues or themselves. There's a lot of different pieces. They may be taking care of a parent. They may have experienced a family member who has COVID that they're having to help take care of. But with so many additional stressors, I think it's really important that we're patient and understanding, and that's key when working with our potential or admitted students. When you look at, I've sent them a checklist, I've talked to them about it, they're calling back. I think that's where we have to be most patient to understand that they're being hit with so much during the process of coming in, starting the community college or college. You're overwhelmed. You're given stuff from point A to Z, and it's just a lot of information. So when I hear, yeah, I've lost that checklist, I don't know what I've done with it, I completely understand. I mean, things are going to happen, and especially now, just trying to keep up with everything. But they're hit with quite a lot, and that's where we can be most helpful in giving them the patience that they deserve to walk them through and assist them. Another thing is understanding the needs of your student. So every student has a reason that inspired him or her, or a goal that they've set to return to get either to enter college or to complete what they've already started with a certificate or a degree. One of the things I personally use if I'm talking to a student is I see that you're pursuing, I used an example for business, you're pursuing a degree in business. Oftentimes that's going to start a conversation with that student, and they're going to tell you why. Yes, I'm doing it because I want a better life. Yes, I'm doing it because I want my daughter to see that I'm doing this, that I'm going to receive this degree. So there's different reasons, but I think trying to work closely with the ones you're reaching out to and understand where they're coming from helps you better advise them and support them through the process. Okay, providing excellent customer service. How many of you all have had a memorable experience at a store, clothing store, restaurant, Walmart, wherever it may be, where you felt you received above and beyond excellent customer service? You got to speak. Is that a yes? Has anyone had that experience?
Yes. Had memorable experiences and not ones that I wanted to remember.
Okay. So with the good, with the one that was good, how did that experience make you feel about the person that gave you this great service?
To go back again.
Okay. And then how did it make you feel about the establishment?
Organized, helpful.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And the good customer service.
Anybody else have a memorable experience at a store somewhere they'd like to share?
Yeah, I think that it makes the food taste better.
It sure could. Okay, now, how many of you have had a memorable but not so good experience where you received the poor customer service? Yes.
They definitely don't get as big of a tip.
Okay. And how did that experience make you feel about the person?
Like they're having a bad day or something.
You thought they were having a bad day.
Yeah.
Anybody else?
I suggest you call on people if they don't talk.
Okay, I'll have to move down here.
So there's Michelle, Jordan, Trenton, and Stephen.
Yeah, I see Trenton, Jody I've got on here. Dale, I know Dale is.
Jody and Dale are from my office.
Okay. And Stephen?
Yes.
Do you have an experience that you've had with poor customer service?
Yeah, I guess. With like, you do a lot of online shopping and stuff. If you get something wrong and you try to contact the people that you got online, and then if they don't want to work with you to get it sent back or stuff like that, it just kind of deters you from that company and their products.
Right. And that's absolutely something that we don't want to see happening when we're trying to provide a service to our potential students, you know, that this is absolutely what it's all about. I think for each of us, knowing that we've been through this experience, we want to provide great customer service. We want to be able to assist. We want to be able to be helpful and not be that person known as, hey, I'm going to tell a story 10 years from now, 5 years from now about this horrible customer service experience that I've had. Everyone, I'm sure, has met what I call the I don't know employee, who stands there, stares at you afterwards after they tell you I don't know, and then they just gaze at you, and it's either like, you need to walk away, I've already said I don't know, or they run. They're out, you know, you can't find them. They are gone in 2 seconds, like they have somewhere to be. It's just such a rush all of a sudden. So have we all encountered the I don't know employee?
Yeah, I would say I have.
Okay. Has anybody not encountered the I don't know? There's a few, and I won't name them by name, but there's a few places that I visit that it seems to be repetitive behavior. So I'm not sure who's training them, but that's what I hear is when I ask where something's at or if I need something, I don't know. I don't know. And that's what I get. I don't get. What should we say? What should we say if we don't know the answer? Do we make it up? Do we try to reach out to someone? What do we do?
You try to find someone that knows the answer.
But how would you word that to the person?
I don't know, but I will find out and let you know.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Another instance that we use is, I don't know, but would you like that person, let me have the expert contact you. Maybe a financial aid question. It may be something a little deeper than what we're trained or understand. And that's where you absolutely reach out and ask.
Yeah, that's kind of how I word it. If I get a phone call about financial aid and I'm working in admissions, I'll let them know. I'm like, well, I'm in admissions, so I'm not going to be able to answer this question to the best of my knowledge. I'm going to send you down to the people that know everything that you need to know about your financial aid, stuff like that.
Yeah, I always love to, like I said, I use the word expert because if I'm putting you in capable hands, that way they feel that they're getting through to the person they need to get through to. So it's
Tracy,
not an I don't know, and we're just shaking our head and we're done, right?
Tracy, on that too, I could add, if you say I'm going to move you to the right person, I would try to follow up with that person and maybe take their name and number down as you're talking to them. Say you're transferring them on a call. Right. Take the person's name and number down and then follow up with the person you transferred them to, so that if they didn't get an answer, they now have the info to call back and try to take care of it. So you're following up, not just doing the one thing and letting it go, because it's almost as bad as I don't know. Right? I mean,
I agree. Yes. Yes. And we're talking about that in New River right now. That's one of the big pieces that we are looking at is our customer service. Is it a warm transfer? And when you can't do a warm transfer directly to that person, what is the next step? Like Dell said, what do you do? So that's where you're trying to take a message so someone can reach back out to that person, and then you're following up. You're looking back to see, okay, today, did this person, did you call them? I just wanted to touch base and make sure. I tried to transfer. I know you all are very busy, but did you have a chance to call person A, B, and C?
Yeah.
I
love the term warm transfer. That's a great term.
Transfer.
Warm transfer. I like that.
Warm transfer, not a cold.
I like that.
Okay, high school versus the adult learner. Is there a difference in our approach with students?
I usually try to keep it about the same if I'm talking to the high school or an adult trying to come in, because eventually they're both adults at that point. So unless the high school has got certain different questions about other things that an adult person may already know, but other than that, I try to keep the conversation close to about the same. That way I'm not trying to remember two different things with two different people, or, I try to keep everything in a top knot so I know what I'm doing.
Okay, so if we look at our graduating, the ones that will be graduating here in the next couple of years, what we call our Gen Z, they've grown up with technology. They're used to technology. They live, eat, breathe it. They probably know more than a lot of us do. So when you're working with students like that, they're not going to be as dependent and have as much need. Now, I'm not saying all, this is definitely not an all, but they're not going to have quite the need and quite as much because they're used to it. Like I said, they've grown up with it. When we take an adult learner, you have to look. There are many circumstances. Am I working with a housewife who's not been to school? She stayed home to take care of her children. They're now in high school. She's able to get back out. Now she wants to finish what she may have started or never started. Is she going to have the same technology experience? Is she going to be able to? So when you say, hey, you need to go online, I want you to go online and look at this. That high school student's probably not going to bat an eye. They're going to be like, okay, I'll do it. A lot of times you'll see what I call the deer in the headlight. You'll say something to a person and immediately you can tell they don't want to say something, but they're looking at you like, okay. So you get that. When you start reading those that your target audiences, you'll start to see there's expressions, there's different things. So I can't talk to the high school students for the most part the way I talk to my adult learners because of I'm not sure where their gap is in technology. I'm not sure if high school students have just had the counselors. They've had others talk to them. College process, FAFSA, the lingo is there. They've heard all these things. But when you start talking to a lot of adult learners, some may not be familiar with the process at all. And then some may have heard about the process, started the process, but never finished. So it depends on where they're at in this transitioning piece of their life. So that's why I try to gear, I don't want to say I talk to them any different, but I gear how I help them and how I assist them differently. Does that make sense? Michelle, what's been your experience in reaching out to students when you're talking to the high school versus where we know we have a lot of adult learners at New River?
I think the same, just like you said, depending on if they're an adult or from high school. High school too, they might know all the technology, but they also aren't as disciplined or organized to get things done. Mm-hmm. An adult or a parent or something, they're just more organized and get things done. A student blows you off a little more, or I'm sorry, a high school student might put it off and blow you off a little bit easier. I'll do it later.
Right. Where the adult learner, most of the time, they're calling with a purpose. They want to get this done. They need to ask the question. They want to get it finished. A high school student will be like, okay, so you want me to do this when? If you can go ahead and get that done for us, we'll get you registered. And it may be 2 weeks. It may be, you don't know. And
seems like the high school students, you definitely follow up with more. They tell you they're going to get their transcripts or do their application or their orientation. But yeah, had to follow up more with those.
Right. So I think it's looking more at the pieces of, like I said, who is our target audience at the time. If I'm talking to high school students, I'm going to give them less information on the tech piece until they have questions and come afterwards. But with adult learners, I'm probably going to put more information on that side of the emphasis with the presentation or when talking to them. to make sure that they know that they have support. We're going to talk about different things about where are your other support services within the college. Most of the time, a high school student doesn't come up and say, hey, do you all have tutors? I don't get asked that quite as often, but with an adult learner, when you're talking about support services and things that you offer, that comes up quite often. They want to know, how are you going to help me? How is this, if I do this, what support do I have? Or a high school student, for the most part, is not thinking about that. That's not what's on their mind. You agree with that?
There's also a lot of high school students that I actually have spoke with the parents. The parents are doing everything for them. So
helicopter parents.
Yes.
Yes. We're used to, those of us that have been doing this are used to that hovering, and it's a piece of the puzzle where I've seen it a lot with especially the Gen Z for some reason, that mom wants to call. And then when I ask a question,
guilty. Mine's 17. He's a senior.
And then when I say, well, actually, he did receive an email. We sent it on to stay, having checked his email. Then, of course, I hear mom yelling at he's in bed. Well, get up and come talk to her. She's saying you got this. And so you see the whole piece of the mom wants to fill out the application. I've had parents call and tell me they're filling out the application. I have a question. I'm trying to fill out the application for my son. I'm trying to fill out the application for my daughter. So yes, the helicopter parents, Michelle's smiling, God love her. But it does. I mean, we do have, and we have
a difference in boys and girls. He is a teenage boy.
Are you trying to say they're less mature, Michelle, at this age?
I will say mine is, yes. I will not say all, but mine definitely is.
I gotcha. So how many of you all have been working with where moms are calling? Okay, I saw.
Oh yeah.
Yes. Okay. So
I'll call, and then the moms will answer, and I'll ask to talk to the student or the high school student that's trying to be admitted, and the mom won't give over the phone, so I'll just have to talk to them about what I want to get done.
Okay. I would say the majority of my calls are a lot of the parents, a lot of the moms calling, trying to get information for their kids or stuff like that.
Okay, so with that, we have to look at, of course, there's FERPA, the privacy. We have to look at the pieces of the puzzle. Once that student is registered, they become a student, and there's information that we can't release, which is not going to be on what we're discussing today, the recruitment, the admission piece. How I start and I train others is so that way they don't have to stop and make the differentiation and say, oh, wait, now when is it I have to stop? I try to tell them that with mom, what we're going to do is the general guidance of, well, we actually have a checklist and it was sent to Paul, and let's have Paul check his email. I'm trying to put some of it back to the student by talking with the mom. And then a lot of times they'll be like, well, yeah, I'm going to tell him to check his email because they're just telling me they haven't, he hasn't heard the next steps. He doesn't know what to do next. Well, he's received an email. He's received a telephone call. We've left messages. There's different pieces of the puzzle where we've reached out. But I think, we've got to start making sure that we talk to that student too. How many of you have gone through and you've talked to mom the whole time and have not even talked to the student? Yeah, it happens quite frequently. In a way, like I said,
30 times today.
A way to do it is to put it back without, like I said, don't be rude, don't be unpleasant in any manner, but a way to put it back on the mom is, can you have, let's say Stephen, can you have Stephen call me? Would that be possible? Or is there a time where I can call Stephen, even if it's after hours, but is there a time where I can reach out to Stephen and kind of go over some things with him? It's one of these where you're trying to put it back, like I said, to where we can have the student reach out.
Yeah, a lot of the times, there's times you'll try to talk to a student and you won't actually get to speak to the student until the day they actually come in to on campus. And then that's the first time you ever actually get to speak with the student about what their plans were or their goals were. You know what I mean? Yeah,
absolutely. Yes, we had a mom try to register last semester for her son. I don't have to tell you that's a no. Mom can't register for her son. But we have the ones that want to do everything through the whole process, and my comment to mom was, you know, Stephen's going to be the one that has to choose the classes. Sign the FERPA if you want to sit down with him, have a meeting with him, to know and understand, because she's like, I have to know what his grades are. I'm going to have to know this. And I'm like, yeah, then you're going to have to sign a FERPA release. But at this point, he's going to have to be the one that registers for his classes. And she's like, even though I'm picking them? Yes, ma'am, even though you're picking them. Yes. So we're going to run into all kinds of situations like that. And again, if we can do it nicely, if we can bring that conversation back around that we want to talk to the student, I think that's beneficial. Very beneficial. Does anyone disagree on that we really need to reach out to our student? We need to have student contact. It's just hard. I realize it's hard. It's very hard sometimes. Okay, so let's talk about what makes a good college ambassador. I'm going to stop my screen share and pull up. Let's see. You all are college ambassadors. What makes a good college ambassador?
To me, I would believe like a good attitude, good customer service, a good knowledge of your job.
Mm-hmm.
And you got to be a real good people person because, well, for me anyways, I do a lot of the recruiting and talking and when we do visits and stuff. So if you got to do all that and you're not a real people person or a real talker, you're going to struggle. You're going to struggle real hard.
You got to be approachable.
Yeah, if you can come outside with a smile on your face every day, you know, just you enjoy it and love speaking to people, then it's really not even a job at that point. You're just having fun.
Like your attitude. Wonderful. Enthusiastic. Does that come to mind when you want to talk to somebody and you want to hear from somebody, or you want to enthusiastic? If I talk to somebody that's enthusiastic and I'm saying, you know, yes, mom, we're going to be able to do this for him. It's not a problem. I'll make sure this happens, but I need you to have him. There's a way you can talk that's going to make that, even if it's you're giving them news they don't want, it's going to make it better. So being enthusiastic, keeping that positive piece of the puzzle, even when they may be negative, they may be down, they may not have the best attitude, especially if they're aggravated over a part of the process. We get a lot of students that get aggravated and say, what do you mean I have to turn in each transcript for each school? Why do I have to do that? So they're not understanding of the fact, and we have to talk to them and explain it to them. But you do have the complaints. You do have the where you're going to have to be Mr. or Mrs. Personality plus enthusiastic and really work with that student. Another thing I have down here on mine was versatile. How many of you all can be versatile? Let's say we're doing an event and something goes completely wrong. All of a sudden we don't have technology anymore. We had, you know, our screen behind us. We had it set up to where we would visually do our promos, our stuff about programs, and the screen goes out. Do we want the person who's going to have a meltdown and go, oh my God, I can't do this. I can't, there's nothing we can do now.
No, you got to stay calm and collected at that point. You got to have a backup plan for your backup plan.
You do. And if you don't have a backup plan, you've got to go with what you have. Do you not?
Yeah, you just got to go on the spot.
Yes, absolutely.
You got to keep it professional. And
yeah, you got to keep it going.
Yep. Keep that smile on your face and that chin up, because things are going to happen.
You're never alone in the situation. So you're going to have someone more experienced than you there that's going to know how to take the next step once the technology goes down. They're going to have the paperwork or whatever you're going to need to do what she's going to do, just a little harder at that point.
Yeah, but sometimes you both may be hit. They may turn around and look at you and say, what,
yeah,
what are we going to do?
We're in big trouble now.
I don't know. What are we going to do? And put it on your shoulders. But it's good, like I said, to stay positive.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know, but give me a minute and I'll come up with it.
If I stare at you long enough, you might leave.
You might walk away or run. Oh, that's great. Okay, one of the things I have is confidence with the willingness to learn.
Yeah, I agree with
confidence.
That.
Now, I've said this before too in other situations with work studies and that, and they're like, how can I be confident? I don't know these things. And it's like, you have to show that you're confident, even when you're saying, I don't know, but I'm going to get you to the expert and we're going to take care of this for you. It's that confidence, because if I come up with a problem and I'm going to a help desk or I'm talking to someone on the phone and they're like, oh, well, I don't know. I don't know. I think I can get you to the right person. You just left doubt in my mind right there, just how you approached. Does this person really know where to send me? Does this person, you got to think about, like I said, not confidence that's going to come across as negative and I'm overly confident on this, on that, but the confidence that gives that customer, our student, the feeling of security. Jordan just transferred me and I felt like he said, I don't know, but I'm going to get you to the expert. He said it with confidence. I felt like this is what's going to happen. Okay, punctual. I've got punctual, flexible, reliable. Every one of you all are punctual, flexible, and reliable, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, of course, we talked about the excellent communication, interpersonal skills. I was just looking at some of the things I have. Being a resource, like we talked about before, how can I help you? How can I make things easier for you when you're talking and asking questions, when you're trying to reach out and help the student? I think, like I said, one of the biggest things on here is approachable, because I've been to places or events, we've had business shows, different things like that. I don't want to walk up to the booth. I don't want to walk up to the table. It's like they just look up, and especially when they're, let me show you. You're going to recognize this right away.
Looks like they don't want to be there either.
Yeah, it's like I'm bothering them. I'm not, yeah, and it's like, did you need something? Yes, I absolutely did. Yeah, but if you could put your cell phone down for 5 minutes, and you can't say that, but that's what you're thinking. Yeah, you've all seen it. You've probably all been through it, but it's definitely making sure that you're approachable, that you're not standing there with the cell phones in hand. You're not standing there. And if you have to take a call, that's fine, step away. But you need to be approachable. People need to feel like they can talk to you, because you're going to have, like we said, anywhere from high school students to adult learners. So it's going to be a mix, but they have to feel comfortable. They have to feel that you're approachable, not that you're standing here going, oh my God, what time is it? What time is it? You know the attitude, you know what you've experienced, what you've seen. So a lot of that should tell you what not to do.
Tracy?
Right? Yes.
I think one of the important things right now too, since it's not facial and you can't read somebody's body language, is your vocal, how you are discussing things with the student, and the background noise and the distractions if you're on Zoom or on a phone call. That's very hard to do, especially with animals at home, and every time the FedEx or UPS man shows up. You have to plan around these things and make sure there's not the background noise and distractions. So, because I think that can deter the conversation too.
It can, but at the same time, I think most students are understanding at this point. I had the dog. I don't have the dogs right now. I have them back in my bedroom. So far, so good. Normally they're running around, but exactly what you said, when the FedEx or UPS comes, I've been on the meeting with the president and others, and the dogs will start barking. And I'm like, oh my gosh, please don't call on me. Please don't call on me right now. So I understand the stressing factor of that. So it is hard. And it could be a time where you have to step away. I'm great with picking up my phone and trying to walk out of the room, outside, out in the garage at times, or making arrangements like I did now. They're in the bedroom with treats and watching TV, I hope. But it's difficult. It's hard with situations, but you will find the students that if something happens, here comes the dog barking, here comes, whatever it may be, they're going to laugh, go, oh my gosh, I've got dogs too. And this has been so hard, me working from home and my dog's barking. I've heard, a lot of different stories throughout the process here. So, but we're human, and it's going to happen. Things are going to happen when we're trying to do these things, but I realize it puts a strain. Any other questions that we can talk about today with your position as college ambassador? Do you want to talk about the reports? Any more questions on the report piece of it? Is there reports that everybody's good? They're getting reports, they're getting call lists, they feel like they're secure with that piece of it?
Yes. I'm comfortable with mine.
Michelle's like, yeah, I get
You do an
overloaded with
excellent
those.
job. I am happy to work with you. You are very good at training and teaching everything. So,
Well, thank you. She's got brownie points now.
Yeah, that's what she's going for.
I'm going for my next term already.
Yeah.
She
said, I love it here. It's magnificent.
I love Tracy.
Yeah.
She's been wonderful to work with. I've said that all along from the time we first hired her to Emily. So Emily can vouch for that. She's been a godsend to us in admissions.
Well, and I will say, if anybody, like in the first term this time, I can't remember what Emily said, how many are first term, but last term, it was all new and trying to get started. And it was hard enough learning everything and doing everything, even face to face and in the office. So now I think yeah. So, I mean, I still obviously have a lot to learn, but things have to be done different. So
there's things I've been doing this forever, it seems, but there's things I have to learn. We're always going to be in that learning process, accepting changes that we have today in technology and having to do things differently because of COVID. And so it's ever changing.
I'm still looking, I mean, this is my second term. I'm still looking forward to actually being involved more with the students and the one-on-one, because we've not had a chance to do that.
Right.
I mean, I met with very few face to face before COVID hit. So
and we're off campus, right? She was getting her feet wet.
It don't seem like you can help as much when you're just talking over the phone or texting or emailing. You don't feel like you're doing enough for them. You know what I mean? It's just.
Right. But you can. Let me tell us, I hear that all the time from my team. When we first started this from home, some of the problems were, I don't feel like I can do this. I don't feel like I'm really reaching out to this student. And it's like, you are. You absolutely are. It's the tone of your voice. If you're not condescending, you're not doing this, you're helpful, you are helping that student. You're helping them complete and reach their goal to do whatever it is. We're helping them get through the crazy admissions and financial aid process. You are helping. So I don't want any of you all to think in your mind that you're not helpful. Being away from the office and that don't doubt that you are. Students appreciate it more than even if it is a phone call. They're being assisted by someone who cares, who's responsible, courteous, and genuine. So they do appreciate it. I promise you, I hear a lot of feedback. So
I felt that way too, but I think to follow up with the student account and to see that, they did do their orientation. They did turn in their transcripts. Then, they did it because I asked them to and helped them do it.
You did. So absolutely. Okay, guys, does anybody have any other questions or anything that they would like to talk about? Our time has flown by. I just looked at that. It's 3:59.
Yeah, that went by quick.
It did. We were having fun. It flew by.